How's it going, everyone? Jeff Johnson from the Gazette here with Jeff Linder. We are going to call it both ways, as we do every week. Talk some high school boys and girls basketball, some Iowa women's basketball, global nucleo thermal, whatever. Whatever else comes up today, we're going to talk about. So, Jeffrey, how's it going? It's nice to see that sun thing out in.
It's nice. The sun is shining, the snow is melting, the days are getting longer, and we're getting closer and closer to postseason basketball.
Yeah, how about that? How about
Yeah.
that? How long do we have now for the girls to start?
They start on the 8th. I think 1A first round games are the 8th, 2A first round games are the 10th. So we're getting close.
We're on red alert. We're on red alert. So, um, what shall we talk about? Did we? I'm trying to remember. I believe North or Mount Vernon and North Linn were going to play.
They played Thursday,
Uh,
and
yeah. So why don't we talk about that? Because I know we kind of led up into it. You don't often get two number one teams playing each other.
right.
And we did, and North Linn was victorious. Take it away, I guess. Nice win for the Lynx. Real nice win.
Yeah, and North Linn did what North Linn does. They shoot well. I think they were 13 for 26 from 3-point, if I remember correctly. They shot well. They create all sorts of havoc with their guards. Both of the Bogey girls and Cameron Kurt had big games for them, and just had one of those little runs kind of a big run it turned out to be. I think it was 14-0 to start the second, and that was the difference. They won the game 60-48, and it was a great game. North Linn was every bit as good as I expected them to be, and Mount Vernon was fine. They're going to be all right. They've got a big one against Solon coming up on Friday. That Mount Vernon's got a 2-game lead in the WAMAC East, so which probably won't have huge ramifications in the divisional race, but it's Mount Vernon Solon, and it's a top 5 Class 3A game, and it'll be great.
Was that a 50-50 game going in, North Linn and Mount
Yeah,
Vernon?
I think so. I think if they play 10 times, it's probably 5-5. Maybe North Linn wins 6. Yeah, it was a good game, good crowd for girl doubleheader, and both teams played well, and North Linn played a little better.
Now I'm trying to think. Last Friday night, where were you?
Oh,
I
last
can't
Friday
remember
night.
what was last Friday night. So
I had Xavier and Liberty Friday. Libby Fandel had a really good game. I think she had 34 points, 9 rebounds, set the Xavier record. So she's playing really, really well right now. Looks like Xavier's starting to put it together a little bit. And, they're going to be a really tough out in Class 4A when we get to tournaments.
the what's the prognosis, Jeff, for like the eastern half of the state in 5A? I mean, now that we're down to the back
Yeah.
schedule here, do you figure that will Eastern Iowa will get maybe a couple of teams in the 5A field?
Yeah. I would have said a week ago that Davenport North they were looking like a lock, but since then, Journey Houston had a knee injury. I think it's an ACL. I think she's done. So that kind of brings them back to the pack a little bit. Pleasant Valley is the defending state champion. They've got an opportunity to maybe get back. It just depends how the Union slices everything up, and we'll know that here in a few hours. Prairie is, I think, 12-2 right now, and you've got a cat on your lap. What will they do? Will they send Prairie West? Do they send what I think they'll probably do? And that, like I said, they'll know this here in a few hours. I think what they'll probably do is put Prairie and Cedar Falls together and let them fight that out. And probably the winner of their regular season game coming up on, I think they play on the 8th. They play on the 8th. I think the winner of that game will probably get the higher seed and would host a regional final.
But
We'll
I
see.
mean, there's a pattern though, right? Generally, I mean,
Yeah,
this,
they do. They do a really good job of cutting the top 8, moving them different directions if they can. And they try to put an 8 with a 9 or a 10, if that's possible geographically, and then a 7 with a 10, 11, something like that, and so forth. And they generally give the 1 and 2 ranked teams basically free path to Wells Fargo. I like the way they do it. It takes a little gerrymandering, but I think it makes sense. So, when do the pairings come out for the boys?
I think we'll get the 2 smaller classes. I want to say next week, and then the 2 bigger classes will be after that. So,
Mhm.
and it's predicated somewhat as much as geographically possible
Mhm.
on the rankings, certainly that the IHSAA puts together each week. You know,
But haven't they done a lot better job in splitting things up more towards what the girls have done? I mean, you're not going to see a 2 versus 5 game in a district final or anything like that anymore, are you?
no, not generally. I mean, again, geography will always have a say in things, and um, but if you're ranked in the top 8, you're more than likely, if it's at all possible, you're gonna have you're gonna be the top seed in whatever district and sub-state that you're in. So I mean, there's no perfect system, and people might like this or they might like that, but with the boys especially, the geography is gonna play a major part in it, and we'll see. I mean, it's rankings. You look at the rankings this week, and class 4A really got jumbled up because we had the back half of the NBC CIML shootout, 5 games last Saturday over in Central Iowa, and Sioux City East came over and beat Waukee at Waukee. So that kind of proved that Sioux City East is legit. So they've really jumped up in the rankings. I think they're number 4 this week in 4A. So you have to. It's border to border in 4A this year. It looks
Mhm.
like so.
And that's got to make everything a lot easier when you've got somebody good out west. So you're not bringing everybody into the CIML hub to get obliterated.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of last year. That's what happened. They sent a good CIML team out that direction and played most of the or in with the Western Iowa bracket, and it's to me it's good to see because Western Iowa in the biggest class really hasn't had or been much of a factor in the last. Geez, I don't know how many years since Adam Woodbury was at Sioux City East. So how long ago is
Yeah.
that? You
Right.
know, they haven't when they've gotten to state. The representative hasn't won a game at the state tournament for a long, long time, and it's good. I think we have some parity in 4A this season. When you look at over in Eastern Iowa, obviously Kennedy went and beat West Des Moines Valley last Saturday by 17. And Valley didn't play with Curtis Stinson. He's still hurt with some sort of hip deal and hasn't come back yet. But still, that's a 17 wins over or 17-point spread over the defending state champ is pretty good. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and then I don't know what you do. Iowa City West is only lost 1 game and really and it has some really nice pieces and was playing well. Beat Cedar Falls. by 2 points the other night or the last Saturday in Iowa City, and Cedar Falls is a good team. Dubuque Senior's a good team, and you go to the MAC. North Scott's a good team. Pleasant Valley and Downport West has a pretty good ball club. So, I mean, there's your contenders in the eastern part of the state, and I see more parity maybe in the bigger classes or the biggest class, in 4A this season, and we'll have to wait and see how everything gets divvied up and how this all plays out. And I think for the good of everybody, hopefully it won't be the CIML invitation like it's
Yeah,
been. You know, yeah, it's been on the girls' side too, right? So, well, except for last year with Pleasant Valley, but
right, right. And you go to the BC More rankings, and the top 8 teams are all CIML teams. So
is that pretty accurate? You
we'll
think?
find out. We'll find out with the Houston injury, and it might be close. Prairie is very good. Cedar Falls is very good. Prairie got beat by 2 in overtime at Valley last night. I think they were down 8 or 10 at halftime, kind of chipped away, got it to overtime, lost by 2. So, yeah, I don't know. The Johnston's by far the best team, and I think those computer rankings keep, just the fact that they keep playing each other and keep beating each other. I think that has a lot to do with them being. I don't know if they're all if they all belong in the top 8, but I'm not saying they don't either.
I guess looking at the smaller class or the smaller 3 classes on the boys' side, we had number 1 team West Linn get beat by Orange City Unity Christian the other night, so we'll have a new number 1 team in 2A next week. Monticello seems to really have righted itself after losing to Iowa City Regina a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Went down and watched Regina. Of course, me being the jinx that I am, Regina gets beat by West Branch last Friday night. So West Branch played a really fine game. So 3A, I mean, you got teams Stolen still undefeated. Marion, beat Marion the last week in a pretty good game. Marion's still in the top 10. Don't discount Xavier, obviously. Playing the all 4A schedule or almost all 4A schedule. And Friday night, I'm gonna head over to Bellevue along the Mississippi River for one I've been looking forward to for a while. Bellevue Marquette and North Linn. Be number 1 Marquette. North Lynn's number 3 this week. Didn't lose, but dropped the spot. So I'm not sure how that happened. Madrid, which plays a primarily 2A schedule, I guess, has jumped into the 2nd spot. So yeah, really
Will this
looking
be your
forward to
first
that.
Bellevue Dateline?
It will be for sure. And I'd never been to Bellevue over the summer. My wife and I and some friends had a weekend at the campground over there. So
Nice,
nice
nice
town.
little river town.
It is very much so. You can just go up and down the river, right? You
Yep.
hit a lot of those north to south. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting, to see. North Linn seems to have righted itself after Alburnett beat it. 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. So and Bellevue Marquette's just been kind of destroying everyone this season. So really looking forward to that. Not sure how big the gym is at Marquette. You ever been there by chance?
I have. It's been a while. I've been to Marquette. I've not been to Bellevue High. I went to a 6-on-6 girls game there in the early 90s at Marquette. I don't think it's terribly small. I think it's adequate.
Decent size, good.
Yeah. So I think
I've
the
been to
girls
get
play
there.
there. I think that's a girl boy doubleheader, and we talked a little bit about North Linn, and Marquette's girls are 500-ish. So I think the boys game will be. I think the boys game will be fun for you.
I'm gonna get there early and check out the both games. So, um,
go early and get something to eat. There's some nice restaurants there in town, and just drive around it a little bit. It's a nice place.
Beer will do. 100%. 100%. So, you want to talk Iowa women?
Sure, sure.
Northwestern tonight, right?
What's that?
Northwestern tonight. We're taping this
North.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, that should be a tail kicking. Yeah. We've hit the midway point in the Big Ten season here, and Iowa's 8-1, Indiana's 8-1, Ohio State's 8-1, and absolutely by far the three best teams in the league. I think Maryland's been a gigantic disappointment, from what they've been the last few years. Penn State's the next best team at 6-3.
Wow.
So they've kind of made a steady climb here, and Indiana's at Maryland tonight, so that could be tricky still. Iowa goes to Northwestern tonight, 7:00. I believe that's a Peacock game. And then they go to Maryland Saturday. So the last week that they've got back-to-back road games, and they kind of go home away the rest of the year. So it looks like a 3-team race, and we'll see how it goes down the stretch.
Only one game this past week, right, for Iowa?
Yeah, they got well against Nebraska. We're kind of floundering a little bit for maybe the first 17, 18 minutes. They were behind a few points, and and Caitlin Clark got untracked a little bit. She scored, I think 28 second half points.
Yeah, that's getting tracked.
Yeah, finished at 38, and they kind of won that game going away. I think it was 92-73. And yeah, good win. And climbed to number 3 in the poll this week, and away we go.
The biggest thing, the biggest thing Iowa has to do down the stretch is what, Jeff? Other than win games, obviously, but
stay healthy, stay hungry, just stay focused. They're the best team in the league. They've got, going to Indiana is not going to be easy. Maryland, I'm not sure I was ever won at Maryland. I'll have to look that up. They got Ohio State at the end of the year. So, hold serve at home. They got to do that. And if they drop one at Indiana, or just drop one period, that's not going to be the end of the world. If they go into the Big Ten tournament with 27-3 or whatever, that's a pretty good year.
Iowa State's looking pretty good too, right? For
yeah, they've lost a couple in a row here in the last week. They're kind of in the middle of the pack in the Big 12, which is a pretty good league, and it's going to get better next year with their additions. So, but Iowa State's going to be better next year too. All those freshmen will be sophomores next year, and I think the future looks pretty good for Iowa State.
Audie Crooks, she's been pretty impressive as a freshman.
Great.
Right?
She's been great. There are a lot of questions about her fitness level and her mobility, and I think she's answered all of that. She's got a great set of hands, good feet. She gets up and down the court a lot better than you would think for a big girl. And I think the question is which Iowa State player, whether it's her or Addie Brown, is going to be the Big 12 freshman of the year this year.
That's a good thing to have happen, right? When one of your freshmen is battle between two of your own girls. So
yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, real good thing. NBC, Missouri Valley Conference, how's that kind of shaking out, Jeff? Have you been able to pay much?
Yeah, a little bit. You and I had a really bad non-conference schedule. They've been playing better lately. Yeah, another really good year for Drake. Let's see who they got coming up here. Oh, they go to UNI Saturday at 6:00. So
there you go.
By no means a slam dunk for the Bulldogs on Saturday. Then they host Bradley, host Illinois State. The big game down the stretch is at Belmont on February 17th.
All right. So a couple of weeks away for that one still.
Yeah.
Um, I was going to ask what the additions to the Big Ten, Jeff. How's that on the women's side? How is that? How big of a factor will that be? What
Yeah.
obviously
Uh,
UCLA and USC, right?
yeah. UCLA is, I think they're ranked seventh or eighth this week. USC is in the top 25. Washington State won the Pac-12 tournament last year. Washington's generally pretty good, and they had Kelsey Plum a few years ago, and that's the gal that Caitlin Clark is chasing for the all-time scoring record. Yeah, USC's got Juju Watkins, so I think she'll be the national freshman of the year. Yeah, it'll be a good addition. The Pac or the Big 12 is getting Colorado, which has had a really good year. Utah's got Alyssa Pilley, and they're a top 20 team. Arizona was in the national championship game 2 or 3 years ago. Arizona State's not been great lately, but I think they've got a pretty good history. And then you know, uh, you know what? I misspoke about the Big Ten. Washington State's not going to the Big Ten. That's Oregon. I'm sorry.
Yep. No worries.
So Oregon, they've had some great players. Ionescu went there, and they probably would have won the national championship when the year that the tournament didn't happen in 2020. So they were probably the best team. So yeah, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington. Sorry about misspeaking there. But in the two LA schools, two really, really good programs that are on their way up.
A lot of our Hawkeye fans are going to have to get used to watching some late games. So probably.
Yeah, and what I think is going to happen, they're going to play 18 games. The Big Ten or whatever they're going to call it. I assume they're going to call it the Big Ten. So 18 teams, 18 games. So 17 opponents. You play one team twice.
Okay.
So what I would think they'll do is they'll have travel partners. I would think that Iowa's would probably be Nebraska.
Sure.
And so what I would think would happen is that those two teams would make one West Coast trip per year, whether to LA or to the Pacific Northwest, and then play like a Thursday, Sunday or a Friday, Sunday or something like that. And then the other two teams from out west would come this direction.
Gotcha. Anything else you want to hit, Jeffrey? Either college or high school?
Oh boy, let's see, we've talked. Where are you going to be tomorrow? You're going to Bellevue tomorrow.
Yeah,
I've got something in Mount Vernon.
Very good.
Yeah. I think we've called it both ways pretty well.
I was trying to think, where was I at Tuesday? Oh, Limar and Wash on Tuesday. I did not hear. Might have been the first time all season. Of course, the game was kind of a blowout, so it really, parents or fans didn't really need to.
Right. And you had something on the Kern kid from Linmar, right?
Yeah, Davis Kern, 6'8" junior. He had 1,000 points last week, first career, which is, he's got a full year and how many ever games left this season. So, it's his goal to be named, have his name mentioned when you talk about Linmar grades. And there's been some Linmar grades, Marcus Page, the Bohannon brothers, all that. But he's looking to get I think he really wants to get a major D1 college offer. Right now it's UNI, South Dakota State, and someone else that I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, real nice player. 6'8", he can play obviously inside, and he has an outside game as well. Can shoot the 3-pointer. So he's had a terrific almost 3 years at Linmar. He's got one more to go. So, and his sister plays for the girls team, and
right.
Height wise, they couldn't be any more different because Drea is very very short, right? His sister.
I don't think she's that short. I think
Okay.
she's taller than you think.
Okay. Okay. I just remember she was a guard, so not
Yeah,
saying anything, but uh yeah, it was Limar's kind of one of those tricky teams. They've got a good starting five, and they played a really tough schedule early part of the season, and I think that affected them a little bit with the lack of depth and looking to make some hay here late in the season and be very dangerous out in the postseason, I think. So we will see. We will
yeah.
see. So
Drea Kern is 5'6".
5'6", there you go. So
I
what?
guess I guess by basketball standards, that's not very tall. Leads the team in scoring at just about 11 points a game as a sophomore. So that's pretty good.
All right. Well, she's a full foot shorter than her brother, or so that's something. That's something.
Yeah.
All right. I think we called it both ways, Jeff.
All right. We'll do this again in a week, and by then
A
we're
lot
going
of
to know a
pairings
lot
and things.
more.
Yep.
I think a lot of conference championships will be determined by then, and divisional championships, and we'll have some brackets, and we'll have a lot to talk about.
Sounds great. Sounds
All
great. Hey,
right.
thanks for joining us, everybody, for another edition of Call It Both Ways. Get out and see a game. Great weather. No travel worries. So get out and see a game maybe sometime this weekend if you can. It's a lot of great hoops, boys and girls wise, in our area and in town. So for Jeff, this is Jeff. We'll speak at you next week. Thanks, everybody.